Okay, thank you all. We're starting now. Thanks for joining again. We would go straight into it, but again, just to give a quick overview of why we're here today. As we all know, or as most people know globally, this month has been a lot about Customer Service Week. Organizations all over the world started this month by celebrating Customer Service Week and wishing customers and frontline support staff, happy Customer Service Week, and celebrating and appreciating the team and customers for being with us or being with your personal organizations for years, or maybe the ones that recently joined. And for Flutterwave as well, it was a blast, celebrating our customers, celebrating our frontline staff, and appreciating everyone for the work done. But we didn't just stop at the week. We're extending it all the way to the end, throughout the month, basically celebrating and saying, indeed, we are glad to have the opportunity to go above and beyond for our customers over and again. And we also thought to say, why not bring together, professionals that have vast experience in the customer experience space across different industries to also join us to talk about what it really means to go above and beyond for customers. Now, as we already know, in this era, we're in an era where customer experience is no longer about a department or a team. Is ingrained in every business. You are in a customer experience or customer service business, whether you like it or not. You have to service your customers, and even if you didn't set expectations, there are certain things customers will typically expect that you deliver. There are certain ways they would expect you to talk, approach them, timeliness of response, and all of that. So even if you have not taken out time to define what those timelines are, customers subconsciously have those expectations. So customer experience, customer service is now something that is in the heart of every business, every organization is doing day in, day out. So it's really about how you manage that perception. Customers want to be managed, and most times it's not tangible. You can't feel it. So it's about how you manage that perception, how you made that customer feel, how you handle that situation. So we want to talk about all of that today, and also share experience from industry experts. I mean, it's a wonderful call this morning. The panelists are loaded. We have panelists from our from here, of course, at Flutterwave, the skincare space, the aviation transportation space, the still fintech space, stroke financial services space. So, I mean, you have something to gain from all our panelists today. So I'd advise, if you didn't get a jotter or somewhere to write, I'd advise you get your notepad, to get somewhere you can write on, because I'm very sure you're going to get something out of this today. So we'll go right into it now by introducing ourselves. And I think I'll start. I'll talk a little bit about myself and then hand it over to the amazing panelists joining us today. So my name is Linda. My name is Linda Akpesing. I oversee the customer experience team here at Flutterwave. And my role is one that has helped customers over and again get the best of the side of Flutterwave, right? So it's beautiful to see customers happy over and again. It's beautiful to satisfy customers and ensure that we meet them at the point of their need, trying to make sure whatever they come to us for, and sometimes even before they come, we can proactively think of those things that could impact customer experience and get them sorted out. So over to you. I'll move quickly to my panelists. So I'll move on quickly to Coco. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Linda. Good afternoon. Hi, everyone, to the audience, to my fellow panelists. My name is Chidiogo Belade, also known as Coco. I am the CEO founder of House of Coco Skincare. House of Coco is a scientifically formulated skincare brand. We have our focus in providing simple, safe, yet effective acne, hyperpigmentation, and hydration solutions. We are 100% female owned, proudly made in Nigeria, and 100% female staffed. For over 7 years, we have stayed committed to providing these solutions to our customer base of over 13,000 women and men. And the brand is rooted in authenticity, community, and quality. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hear a lot of customer service, customer making customer happy in there. Thanks for the introduction, Lillian. Coco, rather. Over to you, Lillian.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Linda. Thank you so much. Hi to everyone listening. My name is Lillian Onochi, and I lead the customer success team at Pocket App. Pocket App is a social payment app under Piggy Tech. So the parent company is Piggy Tech. Under Piggy Tech, you have PiggyVest and Pocket and Patronize. So the general aim of Piggy Tech is to help Nigerians manage their finances better. So you have a savings app with PiggyVest, and then you have a spending app with Pocket. I think what's our main concern isn't just spending, but spending efficiently. So you're trying to, you saved up for something, you're trying to disburse those funds with your friends, your loved ones. We have accommodation for that. You're trying to do it with someone, with just one other person. We have that. You're trying to do it in batches, or you're trying to send to multiple people at once. We have that. And we're very customer centric in that we believe, happy customer, happy business, and we just kind of like follow that model. We're customer obsessed. I think customer centric is a mild form to put it. So a lot of what I do just centers around maintaining that particular mindset about making sure that the customer experience is unified across all our products. And yeah, it's been very rewarding, very lovely.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Lillian. Nice to meet you. Over to you, Oluchi.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Aluchi Okore. I'm the General Manager for Digital Commerce and Growth here at Wakana. I have 10 years experience that crosses across the aviation industry, FMCG, and the financial industry. My main core would be product centric, ensuring that we are building products that meet customers' needs and exceeds their expectation, ensuring that the customer's voice is heard in every single product that we roll out here. In Wakana, as I lead the digital commerce part, this is ensuring that we are available for sales to the customer. So everything that we do is available to sales online, making sales to be streamlined, taking away every manual processes. As we all know, the manual processes, what does it do? It reduces the efficiency of your sales of your product and the experience that the customer gets while interacting with your brand and with your product. So my core responsibility is ensuring a smooth and seamless process while you are purchasing anything from Wakana, while you're interacting with us on our various touch points. And this is not just what I've done with Wakana, this is something I've done across the years in defense industry. Yes, customer centric, yes, product centric, yes, enhancement centric, ensuring that things are constantly being improved. Okay, that's the brief about me. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you so much, Oluchi. Again, you can hear yet customer centric, yet so it's a team loaded with people thinking about the customers and making sure customers are happy. So over to you quickly, Sean.
Hi, Linda. Yeah, happy to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Oluwaseun Olatunde. I lead the customer experience, quality assurance and training team at Flutterwave. I would say that I've been in CX for over a decade thereabouts, worked in banking, telecoms, worked also in business process outsourcing, specifically focused on the service technology industry as well. And I've worked in different roles, within the CX space across the organization in those industries. My role in Flutterwave as the quality assurance and training lead focuses majorly on ensuring that as Flutterwave as an organization grows, also the CX team also grows. But while that growth is happening, it doesn't happen at the expense of quality. At the expense of quality, we want to make sure that our customers, at every point in time, they get in touch with us or they get in contact with us, the experience they have is always, at the very best, right? And how do we do that? We do that through standardization, tools and automation, data-driven insights, and also ensuring training and development. And all this, right? All this, right, is to ensure that the customer at every point in time they get in touch with us, be it via email, chat, via calls or social media. The experience they have is one that they will always, always want to do business with Flutterwave at all times. I think one major thing I also want to capture about, what I do at Flutterwave makes it is that we are in Flutterwave, we don't want the customer experience to be a thing of luck. That is, we don't want great customer experience to be luck. It should actually be something that is deliberate at every point in time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean. I mean, you really, really captured it. Thank you so much for doing that. So thank you everyone for joining. So as you can tell, you are in very good hands. I mean, you can see the experience. We're going to add all the experience we have in this room to be like maybe almost 100 years or thereabouts. So you see, you're in very good hands. And we're going to be getting as much as we can from every panelist to share. And please, like I said, make sure you don't miss out. So pay attention, get all you can, prepare for your questions. We're going to have room for questions as well as we proceed. So we'll go to the very first question, a very, very popular one in our space. Customer is always right. I mean, I know we've heard that one way or the other. It's either your boss have said it or someone you are working with, you've told the person that, or even the customer have told you, I am always right, right? So we've heard that over and again, customer is always right. Is that really true? So I want to hear the thoughts of some of us on the call this morning, just to talk us through it. What do you think? Are customers really always right? So I'll start with you, Oluchi. It'd be nice to hear your thoughts. Are customers always right?
Okay. Something, growing up, I always heard that phrase where they say customers is always right. And unfortunately for me, I would say that all the times that I've heard it are times where the statement is made um, to close someone in on something and get you to keep quiet and not offer further explanation. That's what I've seen mostly growing up. So are customers always right? It is a yes and a no response for me. It is a yes because the customer who has the buying power has the right to decide where they want to spend their money, has the right to decide on the goods and services that they want to get. They have the right to decide that they want A over B. It is their 100% right. So they are correct in picking and deciding what their buying power gets for them. Then, in the no aspect, I know in this part of the world, it seems very offensive to tell a customer you are not right. But that depends on your medium of delivery of that information to the customer. But in a situation where you are the specialist, you are the consultant, you know best, and you understand and the customer might be saying one part. So it is you then who gets to advise the customer that yes, you want to go for B over A, but I would like you to understand what you are getting with A and what you are getting with B. And my advice as a specialist here is to say, go with A because of this A, B, C, D, or go with B with this A, B, C, D. So the customer ultimately, yes, is right in deciding if they want to go with A or if they want to go with B. But our job there now is to ensure that we have informed the customer and armed the customer with enough information, with enough data, with enough explanation. They are very aware and they understand the decision that they are taking and that this is what it gets them. So yes, they are right, but they are not the experts. I don't want to say no because it's part of the country. When I say no, customer is not right, it comes up offensive. And if I, yeah, and if I may put in, if I may put in a very practical example. So there was some time ago, where a customer had an issue with a transaction, and in that rage, in that anger, in that whole, how yes, customer is right, it's their money. In that whole rage, walks into the office and meets the first staff on duty, explains, and is so upset, and assaults the staff on duty and gives the staff a good resounding slap. Yes, that is my customer. But no, it is absolutely wrong for you to assault a staff. Yeah. So in that point, I would not say you are right. You are not right in assaulting my staff. You are right in your choices in deciding to pick me to buy with me, but you are not right. So there's a thin line there. There's a place, yes, where the customer is absolutely right in their willpower, what they're purchasing, what they're deciding, in their choice, in their taste, in their decision. But then there comes a part where they are not the specialists, which is where we come in to do our job. So it's a yes and no. Thank you.
I mean, I like the balance, right? The fact that, thank you so much for that, Oluchi. The fact that you could explain, I think Oluchi's network is a little, but I like the fact that you could explain that, okay, customers have the right to choose where they want to spend their money. I think it's something to remember all the time, right? So every time you want to, decide if the customer is right or not, remember that he's saying no, he also has the right to take his money away. Your point is very clear, which is there's still the thin line. Doesn't mean you have the right to slap a staff or assault someone, right? So yeah, thanks for that balance. So one more, I'll just take one more, ask one more panelist to quickly still talk on this briefly, if you may, Lillian.
Hi, everyone. I agree with so much of what Oluchi said. I think for me, I look at it more from the delivery aspect, your communication, right? So you can't outrightly tell the customer, oh, you're wrong. I even look at it more from a resolution aspect. A customer might come and say, this is the problem I'm having, right? But then you can't say, oh, no, you were wrong. The problem was actually this. You just have to tell them that we've reviewed this and this is what we saw. In that instance, you're not only resolving their issue, you're also educating them. So you've been able to kill two birds with one stone. It's really, it also speaks to empathy. So instead of you saying, you can't just say, you don't know what you're talking about, right? But then it has to be, oh, well, we're so sorry about this, but you were inconvenienced, but this was the source of, the issue that you were experiencing. So it speaks to a lot of soft skills that people in the service industry have to exemplify: empathy, excellent communication, all of that. And I think that's primarily what that's all about.
Thank you so much, Lillian. I mean, when you're talking, something that came to mind is one of the popular trainings in customer service, which is how to say no. I mean, you always go through that training where they say, okay, you need to learn how to say no without saying no, right? How to outrightly not just say no to the customer, because to your point, education, and I mean, Oluchi also spoke about the same thing, putting out the right information, making sure the customer is knowledgeable enough per time to make the right decision. Sometimes will be that reason why they are mostly right? So help them to be right. So thank you for that perspective. So we'll move on quickly to our next question, and it's one that is very popular in our space again, right? We are in that age where automation, AI is really coming into the customer service to customer experience space. While we really, really welcome it because it makes things faster, you have the ability to respond to customers, quicker. But something we are also beginning to see, sometimes customers can tell that I'm speaking to a robot, I'm not speaking to, or it's an automated system, or it's just a script. So how can we tailor responses and resolution to still be above and beyond the standard expectation, even in this era where AI and all is really, really popular? Shane, I'd start with you on this one.
All right. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, so it's a whole lot. And, I think the age of AI, as we'll call it, the goal is to ensure that in terms of efficiency, especially in the CX space, we are better, or we are better equipped and more efficient as a team. Right. However, in doing that, you don't want your customers to have the mindset that, oh, I'm just speaking to a bot, or I'm just talking to something that does not have an emotion, right? And so key here is to ensure that as much as possible, we are trying to build, those chat bots, and build AI into our, and in fact, all our, tools, all our CRM tools now, they're all coming with their own AI version of themselves and all that, right? You want to make sure that you build, your messages are relevant to the customer's issue, right? You want to start up by, starting the conversation that whenever that conversation starts with the customer's name is actually, captured in that conversation. You are not saying hello customer, right? You want to make sure that it's relevant. The messaging in terms of how the response that the customers gets at first is actually relevant to their issue. Okay, you said you would like to do this, not, oh, I noticed that you have this issue. No, you also want to make sure that you have empathetic language in your conversation or in whatever, in those engagements, right? Because I think the long and short of it, regardless of how we look at this job, right, is the emotional part of it, right? I've worked in an environment where I have worked with team of engineers who believe that, oh, their technical expertise is what is going to get them through, right? But a month or so into the job, they found out that no, that's just a part of it, right? There's the emotional side of the customers, right? That even at some point also supersedes, the technical, competence of you as an engineer, right? So being able to show that emotional side in those interactions are very, very key, right? Now, while building the old AI thing and the old chatbot thing, you want to make sure that regardless of that, there's always a part where we have the human in the human interface there. Oh, you have been able to engage the AI, you've been able to engage chatbots. Yes, do you still want to speak to somebody human, right? To help you out throughout oftentimes they're not, customers will have had their issue resolved by AI. Will pretty much just end it up there. But if they still want to go that extra step, right, to speak to human, then then you give them that option. Then last but not least, which is most critical to me, is you want to make sure there's a feedback loop, right? Because you want to make sure that you are improving your AI tool as much as possible, your chatbot as much as, and one of the ways you can actually do that is through your feedback loop. It is very, very critical. You want to make sure you are listening to the customer, getting their feedback about how your engagement with them has been, right? So very, 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 very important. Making sure your messages are relevant, your language is empathetic as much as possible, and you show that you are available to help them. Yeah, that really, really helps us in this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, I think that was so spot on. Thank you for sharing. I mean, from speaking about personalization, because really, I mean, in this era, one thing that is now clearer is you need to find those bots a way to be very personal and make sure the information is relevant. You don't want to start, how may I help you? Okay, do you mean, okay, can you please, sometimes you see some of those, but it's so, you want to like, oh no, the bots need to be a lot more connected. So yes, personalization, relevance of information, getting the customer to the point where they are getting what they need quickly. Then you want to make sure the emotional side is not totally lost. So in building those bots, you still want to add some of those soft skills, soft things the bot could say at certain point. And you spoke about something very important, the bot being able to hand over quickly. So once a bot or an AI tool is answering, it's like they can't close the loop, they should quickly move on. Move it on. They can't close the resolution or get to a point of resolution, move it on to a human quickly. So before the customer gets uninterested. And you spoke about the feedback loop so that the bot keeps improving and doing better. Thank you for sharing that, Shion. So quickly moving on to Coco, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that particular, still talking about things we're doing with AI automation to make our responses better, but yet keeping it human, keeping it personal and emotional.
Thank you very much, Linda. And thank you, Shion, for sharing. I'm actually going to flip it a little bit, or not a little bit, completely. So my industry is beauty, and we actually started off with consultants, actual consultants. So to this very day, we have consultants on all our platforms that respond to messages first before we decided to enable the business for tech. What do you guys call it? Tech-enabled solutions and all of that. So we actually started off with person-to-person interactions, and I believe that has been a major contributor to our success. We employ pre-purchase consultations. So there's no one that gets to purchase anything without first speaking directly with us. But we have customers who go directly on the website to do that because there is a chat bot on the website that allows for these automated responses. So I think a very good way we've been able to find that balance is by we have SOPs at House of Coco, like our standard operating procedures, but consultants, and there is a time limit. Within 30 minutes, they need to respond. to all inquiries. And so when the chatbot does the initial response, at least they get notified immediately of a request that has been made or contact that has been made, and within 30 minutes they know that they are required to make that response. So it's quite the opposite for us, because beauty is quite personal. It's something that skincare is quite personal. It's something you put on your skin. It affects your confidence. For a lot of women, because most of our customer base, our client base is actually female, and it's something that we take very personally. So I want to make sure that I'm speaking to someone that knows what they're doing. I don't want to speak to someone who's not well versed in this. All of our consultants at House of Cocoa are internationally certified, so they are the right professionals to speak to. So it's quite opposite for us in the skincare industries. What is the point I'm trying to make? We actually do person to person. We prioritize person to person consultations and customer service before enabling with tech, because definitely we've had to scale, and as we grow we continue to push for growth. We've scaled, so we get more consultants. We've gotten more consultants, and we've also enabled for tech with a few tools like the automated response on the website. We also have a skincare quiz on the website, so you don't have to speak with us directly. You could just go in there and do your quiz and get your answers. So it's a balance. It's a very fine balance that we have there. I hope I've been able to answer your question properly. Thank you.
Yes. I mean, that was spot on, because I think what you have said, what I picked from what you said, is the way you have made the two systems work well together. So you can't let go of your personal touch because you're doing skincare. And this might speak to someone's business who is listening right now, right? You might be that business that can't let go of the personal touch, but you want to find that balance where a basic inquiry happens here, you can quickly hand it over to a human, because someone needs to talk to you before you make that final call. But it's okay, maybe what time can I call? Maybe scheduling of the appointment. All of those little things might still be handled by bot, but you want to quickly hand it over to a human. So, I mean, it's a fine balance. And why I think this perspective is important is looking at the different types of businesses out there. You are then able to pick what best suits your business, and then keep fine-tuning till you get, what you feel is perfect enough that works for you. Oluchi, I see you have a comment or two.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Coco, because what she said is amped, and it is very important that in your business, and as much as you want to become more modernized, you want to introduce automations, and you want to introduce new technologies into your business, you must be sure that it is something that works for your business. In the aviation industry, bots is something that does not really work for us. Here at Wakana, yes, we have bots, chatbots, but I'll give you a practical example how people interact with our chatbot. They go there, they say hi, hello, they put their name, they follow the steps. Yes, it's quite very human. But after two entries, believe me when I say that they continue to enter gibberish intentionally, so that it can of our culture, and this is part of us being a person. As Africans, I don't know of other people, but as Africans, we value one-on-one interaction. We want to talk to somebody. We want to put a face. We want to put a face to the conversation. We want to ensure that we know who we are talking to. And for the aviation, where it has to do a lot with huge sum of amount, people want to see whom they are entrusting their money to. And that is why you will see for Wakana that we have what we call touch points all around the nation. Touch points where people walk in physically, sit in front of an agent and say, I want to go from point A to point B. Give me the options. How much is it? We still have people that come with cash. And you're telling them, sir, here's a POS. Yes, Flutterwave, we are integrated. Put your card here. Make your payment. And they're telling you, no, ma, no, sir. I have brought my money cash and I want to pay. Count it. Is it complete? Print my ticket. I've sent you electronic ticket. And they are saying, no, print. I want that paper. I want to hold it. I think it's part of our culture as Africans, where we value interaction. There's a communion when we meet and we discuss. When you say House of Cocoa now, I have a face to it. I can trust the brand more because I've seen her face and I know her. So it's easier for me to say, oh, I saw her, she had clear skin when she was talking. So I could buy from her. So I'm saying that as much as we want to introduce automation, new technologies, we must be sure that it aligns with the values of the people that we are servicing. So for us here in the aviation industry and a lot of places, they would always call in. They will walk in to speak to somebody. You're making a purchase of 5 million naira. They don't just want to do it on their phone, chat with a bot, and put in their money. Also, because of the peculiarities and the intricacies of the industry, there are certain things that the bot cannot fully do. The bot cannot fully advise you. The bot cannot give empathy and understand what is going on if there's a cancellation and you need a new one. Yes, the bot can suggest other flights for you, but the bot cannot feel what you're going through and be able to empathize with you and give you the right advice. So I'm strong on you understanding your customer base, understanding their behavior, and understanding how best they want to be related to, and then service them in that way. In that way, you are also, with your first question that says customers always right, then you are helping them to be right in their mode of communication, not to force down a bot on them because it's what is trendy, it's what is happening. When you force it down on them that they cannot escape it, then the organization is not listening to what the customer is asking for. That's just it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I mean, very spot on, very, very spot on. And I think I really like the example. I like the way Coco's face lit up when you said, oh, now I can put a friend's face to the brand, right? So yeah, it's very, we're still in this space that is very, people still want to personally see who they are talking to. However, then the balance is now, which is what we're talking about. To what extent can the bot go? What are those little things? So it might just be the very, like you said, it can display flights to you, but it can't show you everything. So where's the balance? And sector also matters. Depending on the sector you find yourself, how deep can you go? Some sectors can go deeper than the other, depending on what your business is involved in. Thank you for sharing. Move right on quickly. So moving on to Lillian, I have a question for Lillian. So Lillian, we are in a pretty well-regulated space, right? Which is good. It's not a bad thing, just to ensure that customers' money is safe. The government and regulatory body, both locally and internationally, have ensured that data privacy, you are keeping the customer's data properly, you're doing transaction the right way. So there are a lot of regulatory bodies here and there, and there are a lot of quote unquote rules and regulations to transacting that we must follow. So in our beautiful customer experience through customer service space, how do we ensure our customer service remains exceptional despite all these compliance, regulatory, strict rules here and there? How do we still maintain all of that, maintain customer service in the midst of all of that?
Hi, Linda. So I think that's where cross-departmental collaboration comes in, right? I think in our spaces, we're so used to working by ourselves. So maybe we have a concern from the customer success. We have a concern in our department, and we're just focusing on, okay, this is an issue that we're having. We might fail to consider it from the accounting area, from the compliance point of view, from the marketing point of view. But then when you work in an organization where all of you are typically in sync, you guys are having routine meetings, you guys are having monthly syncs or weekly syncs, it's easy for everybody to touch base on things that need to happen. So every time a memo is sent out by CBN or whatnot, the heads of departments or relevant stakeholders in the organization would typically get together and say, this is something new that we have to consider. So it will be if, for example, it impedes the customer experience, we're saying, oh, we have to clamp down on that. And we obviously, because we don't want anyone to stress our customers, we're already like, no, we're already, into fighting mode. But then we have to consider that without us being compliant, we're not even going to have the customers at all. And that's where everybody puts on their thinking hat. Okay, let us be compliant. Let us make sure that we're not having to pay unnecessary fines, but let's communicate it and let's implement it in a way that doesn't stress the customer. It will always go back to being customer-centric. And like I said, soft skills, communication. How best can you communicate that? We're going to stress you, but it is for your own good. And this is, in fact, it's for all our goods, because we don't want to, this is a profitable business at the end of the day. Like, yes, we love you as our customer and we won't exist without you, but we need to do this thing. How best can you communicate it so that the customer understands that, this is the fact that you guys are adhering to this regulation. It's a fantastic thing. It means that you're not just going to run away with my money tomorrow. So when you're able to do that consistently, you're updating your customers consistently, they know that you have a penchant for structure, you have a penchant for order, and you're accountable for your actions. You're transparent also. You communicate fantastically and you carry them along the way. It builds trust. When you have that trust, it's easy to just keep on going from there, keep on going from there. And before you know it, people are advocating for you, whatnot. You have a reputation of credibility, right? And transparency. So I really just think that cross departmental collaboration, rather, it will always help in that. If you're carrying everyone along, before you have your external customers, you have your internal customers, which are your employees, everybody, stakeholders, investors, whatever. Carry those people along first, and then you can carry your customers along, and it will make it a lot easier for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I mean, you said some things that I think are pretty remarkable. When you collaborate internally, it's easy for you to then think of the best way to approach the experience side, even before customers come complaining or come to you to say, oh, this is not going well. So when you think together collaboratively, when teams are in sync, you're able to collaborate, think together and say, okay, this is how we want to present it to customer, then be more proactive in letting customers know and giving customer frequent updates. Also making customers see the value. So I like the way you explained it. Also letting customers know that you don't want your money being in an organization that is not accountable to regulator, right? To an organization where you don't know if you can take your money one day and you no longer see us. So also letting customers see the value in this, even if it could be stressful, letting them see the value in it. Shem, I don't know if you want to add one or two things on that.
Yes, thank you, Linda. Thank you, Lillian, as well. For the way you captured it there succinctly, right? For me, I feel that it's all about balance, like Lillian has said, right? Ensuring that both teams, right, on the compliance side, and oftentimes I think where we see this problem oftentimes are, between compliance, legal risk, and and the CX team. And we should never forget that the reason why we are within the organization, because we are the customer's hearts within the organization. Like a former boss would always tell me, right, you are employed to naturally be on the side of the customer, right, for the organization, right? And you always want to see things from their perspective. And I've had instances even within Flutterwave where, we're building a process out, and in my mind, I was asking myself, will a customer do this? Do you want this customer to go through this stress? This is effort, right? And eventually we're able to look for solutions around it. I think key here is one, leveraging technology as much as possible. I think which is something that has worked for us, especially in the fintech space, a whole lot. And basically just put us in front of the road, right? And traditional financial institutions, financial institutions, we're now basically chasing, right? But leveraging technology a whole lot, helps us a whole lot, because it helps. What that does is that it helps to reduce customer efforts as well, right? Because we want to make sure that we are keeping up with regulations, but we also want to make your life easier as well. And most important, and this is very, very granular, right? At least, and this is from the side of a customer success or success officer or experience analyst and what have you, depending on the name, the frontline agents, basically, which I call them, right, is to make sure that they are properly trained, right? They are trained like never before. We are trained on data privacy. They are trained on anti-money laundering, so that they have everything they need to be armed whenever they are having those engagements. You don't want to be, out of being customer centric, you want to put the organization in trouble, right? You want to make sure that you have a fair balance between doing your work and also ensuring that you are protecting the organization, right? And while doing that, you are putting empathy. You're also ensuring that you are guiding the customer. You let the customer know that I am here with you all the way. I know we will stress you, like Lilian said, but I'm going to be here with you all the way. And I'm very sure, I tell you, when customers know that we are genuinely with them, right, they always tend to always work with us, and that's one way that we always ensure that we get the best out of them.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sean. I mean, just some things that you said, just to recap, I think you spoke a lot about balance, that finding that balance, very important. You also spoke about ensuring that the frontliners are trained, because sometimes when you know what you're saying, it's easy for you to pass it on in a way that is suitable, right? When you're trained enough and you understand the importance of what you do, right? And you also spoke about being with the customer through the journey. So how to communicate, ensuring customers know that they are not left alone. We are with you. Yes, this is required, but how can we help? We are here to give you all the support you need to make sure you can get there. Thank you so much for sharing. I have one more question for Lillian as we move on. So Lillian, you are with Piggyvest, and one of the things we see a lot when it comes to money, once customers' money is involved, the story changes. I mean, you see that I stopped smiling, right? Because once money is involved, the story changes. So when it's an issue about, I'm still trying to log in, it's okay, my money is secure. But the moment the money has left my account and I can't see it where it's going to, and it's not in my account anymore, trouble. Right? We know that very well. So we'd like to hear from you some of the ways you've been able to manage this sensitive part of customer engagement, delicate part of customer engagement, and still maintaining trust while ensuring resolution is achieved.
So, like I said earlier, we're more customer obsessed. I want to say we're customer obsessed, right? It's not enough for us to correspond with a user. So, a user has reached out to us with a problem that they're having and we're resolving it. It's typically not enough. If it has passed an uncomfortable number of days or it has passed the SLAs on our own end, we're going to go above and beyond and put a call to the user and say, we're seeing that you're experiencing this issue. And I know, we've been corresponding with you, but we're just letting you know that we're aware of the inconveniences. We want to let you know that we're working on it. It always does things to users who were previously so irate. They're so surprised, like, oh, wow, you guys called. You didn't wait for me to call, right? So going over and beyond will always put you above others, because then you're letting them know that we're going to keep on communicating with you. We're going to keep on following up with who we need to follow up with till this issue gets resolved. And like you said, we're in the financial industry. Nobody wants to hear our payment partners are experiencing, I didn't put my money with your payment partners. Go and talk to your payment partners, all of you, to enter group chats and give me my money. And that's what we hear on a daily. But then when you're letting them know that all of us are working together, as you aptly suggested, right? And you're just transparent. And there's also empathy, right? Because it really doesn't matter if it's 500, if it's 5 naira. Everybody's 500 contributes to now make the how many billions that makes us an organization. So we don't have a priority. Everybody's money is priority. Your 5 naira, your 500, your 200, your 1 million, your 10,000 gazillion billion. Everybody is a priority because you've trusted us enough to keep the money that you have with us. So we're very huge on feedback, follow-ups, following an SLA. Once it has passed that uncomfortable number of hours, we're calling everybody we need to call. It also helps that we have an escalation workflow for each team. So it's like, okay, an issue gets to an agent. The agent sends it to XYZ person. XYZ person sends it to this person. Now, when we are tracking that issue, it's like, where at this point is this issue? Has it gotten to this person? Does it need to be escalated further? Do we need to bring in this person to resolve it, right? And something that helps us, I guess, is the fact that, again, like I said, customer centric, it comes from above. It's not yes, we're here to make money, but everyone is our customers need to get this optimal service. They need their money. Once you start stating that this person needs their money, it doesn't matter if they want to just be seeing the money in their account. They don't have anything to purchase. It is their money, and we owe them that responsibility to give it to them when and if they need it in the easiest way possible. And everybody works, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone across departments works on that mindset that this user needs their money, right? And we need to facilitate them getting that money when and if they need it. So that's just kind of the model we work on. And we try to make sure that our agents, before anyone else, understands that and works with that mindset.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I mean, just a few things, just to quickly recap. I think the first one, which I want to talk on, which I think you picked on, was having a customer-centric organization. So it's not about the department. So I don't know who is listening that, maybe you have a startup and you're already thinking of some of these things. You want to make customer service part of everything that everybody does, the customer at the center of it all, right? And you spoke about proactive engagements, making sure the customer is updated. So your money is involved, yes, but before you come, we're telling you and we keep updating you. Then you spoke about empathy, making sure, you have everybody understands the importance. It doesn't matter if it's 5 million or 5,000. Every money, like I like to say, every money has a story, right? It's a journey. There's a story behind every money being transferred. There's a story, and that story is important. And sometimes even some story are more time sensitive than the other, and it's not about the amount, right? So the empathy is very important. And you spoke about every money, everything being prioritized. So once money is involved, everybody knows its priority, and making sure that everybody gets the message, and the customer's money can either get to the destination or be refunded to their wallets or their accounts in a way that they can see their monies again, that they know it is there and it's safe, right? Thank you so much for sharing. So I move on quickly to Coco. Now, Coco, you have an interesting, I went through your profile. I'm like, you have an interesting story. And your brand is one that's grown, not just within, maybe I think you started maybe with one, but currently you have different outlets and expressions, right? It would be nice to hear how you have managed to build your customer base, and customer loyalty through the years. How have you kept your customers coming back consistently, engaged and satisfied? What are those nuggets, those things you can share today with someone listening?
Thank you, Linda. Very quickly, I would say that just like the topic for this webinar has emphasized, we are quite customer centric. Skincare is very personal, and people love to feel seen and heard. Something I say to my staff all the time, my team, I let them know that people will forget everything. Your customers will forget everything, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So if you're having a bad day, put down your phone. Don't make that response. If you're worked up, put down your phone. Our SOP is very detailed for consultation, and I just try to communicate to them that you have to focus on the customer and how they feel. If you're having a terrible day, the delivery guy is making the delivery, whatever is going on, put down that phone and wait until you're calm to make that response, because you might respond in anger or frustration, irritation, and it might be curt. You might not even notice it, but the customer would definitely notice this thing. And I would say that is exactly how we have built a strong and loyal customer base. We started out in 2017. It's been 7 years. And our focus has been delivering excellent products and excellent services. Reason being, I believe when you show up, you should show up as your best self. Whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. And because we have focused so greatly on this, the product and the service in the process of getting the products across to the customer, I believe that customers just keep coming back. Yes, we do have well-established systems for follow-up, feedback, and communication. When every customer purchases, I think after 14 days, about 10 to 14 days, they're sent a feedback form automatically. These are automated processes, so they can tell us what their experience has been with the brand, the products, and the service. So it really still comes back to the customer. We're all about the customers. And you want to take your customers, the lifetime value of a customer, you want to take them from awareness to advocacy. And so we follow this process when we have campaigns, we're planning campaigns. It's from awareness, then they try us out and they use the products and they give us their feedback. And then the final stage is advocacy. I'm not a marketing expert professional, but I can tell you that I know it in my head, awareness to advocacy. That is always the goal. That is always the plan. And this is how we've been able to establish a loyal customer base. So we have a wide base here in Nigeria. We have stockists in different states. In Nigeria, we have stockists in the US, UK, and Canada as well, Ghana. We have operations in Kenya as well. So this is how we've been able to establish this. Just focus on the customer, and be diligent in everything that you do. I like to say, a man that's diligent in his work. Well, literally, the Bible says that you will not stand before mean men, you will stand before kings. So you just have to show up excellently at everything you do. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I mean, it kind of feels like you've answered one of my next questions already. But I mean, just to quickly recap, I think some of the very important things you spoke about, which I think businesses can also learn from, and maybe a startup or someone who is thinking of starting something, depending on your type of age. I don't think it even depends. Every business being personal. You spoke about being personal, how your team, you constantly ensure everybody understands that, customers will always remember how you made them feel. So before what you say, how you even express what you say matters a lot. And you spoke a little bit about your SOP as well, meaning you've also created standards to make sure these things are the way people know to behave within the organization. Spoke about awareness all the way to advocacy, being deliberate about every stage, and spoke about diligence and excellence as well. I mean, just to quickly say that all these things you spoke about definitely shows that if someone is thinking about some of the things they need to do to be able to achieve make their customers come back over and again, these are some of the things you can speak about. Now, I want to quickly go to one more question I have for you, which will be, so someone might be listening to you who has started up or is planning to start up something, but when it comes to funding, don't have so much, so what are those tools or advice you can give to still have good customer or do the right thing when it comes to customer service and customer experience without breaking the bank, right? What are those nuggets you can still give around that?
Thank you very much, Linda. And very quickly, because I don't want us to spill over, I would say opt for tech-enabled solutions. So I know it sounds like you've heard it a million times, but honestly, I'll give an example. When we started out, we did not have as much funding or as much funds, so like very little customer base. We got our website on Shopify. We hosted our website on Shopify, and there's a free plan there for your store, your e-commerce store. So if you want to start you have a business and you want to take it, you want to satisfy your customers, you can actually get a free Shopify store or something. There's lots of tools that you can use to enhance your customer experience. One of the major issues I believe SMEs should I say founders with SMEs experience is there's so many different things, there's so many moving parts in the business, and they feel like they're spread thin. So it's like, oh, I have to do this myself, I have to do customer service myself, I have to do payments myself. There's actually a simpler way to go about it. There's a more should I say coherent way to go about it. You could host on Shopify and integrate all of these things, all of these other services. For example, I mean, House of Cocoa are payment providers, Flutterwave, obviously. So where the Flutterwave, the payment gateway, is integrated to Shopify. And what is the cost? I think it's about 1% or something, or it's quite little. Well, it's not as significant, so you're able to automate processes while keeping costs very low. And there's other tools there on Shopify, like your marketing is free. Marketing is free, email marketing is free, SMS marketing. There's so many free things on Shopify. So I always make that recommendation. Please put your website on Shopify and hosted on Shopify. I think that's the right term. And for payments, obviously, you know what to do, Flutterwave. But then check out the other tools that are there, because it will keep your cost extremely low while you're focusing on growth. I hope I've answered your question properly. Thank you so much.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much. As we begin to round up, I'll just ask Oluchi to please I have a quick question for you. If you can just quickly do it within a minute to really be appreciated. So how do you ensure that your customers get timely responses? I mean, you're in a very time-sensitive space. Timeliness of response and giving them what they need at the time they need it. How do you manage that to make sure you don't drop the ball on that?
You're absolutely correct when you say that I work in a sector that is very time sensitive. So, one thing that I would say, one major thing that I would say, it's you understanding your product and your processes and what is involved in the business that you are involved in. So, saying this means that if you know that a product, I'll give an example, not using my industry. If you were to go to the hospital, for example, and you get in there, the first thing the people who receive you want to check is your blood pressure. They call it, there's this word for it, bio something, which are the basic thing they need to check before taking you to see a doctor where you further explain. Why am I saying this? Is that when you're in a business, you need to understand what the basic rules are, what the basic criteria are, things you need to look out for. These are things you must be proactive about resolving them. You must be proactive. I give you an example is that a lot of people, it might sound funny, but a lot of people would come on our website, make a booking, and make a mistake on their own names. My name is Oluchi Okore. Yes. And somebody will forget. It's so interesting because some people don't know what is their first name, what's their middle name, what's their last name. It's as simple as that. But they've come to your business, they've made a booking, and they've paid, and they've received their tickets. They don't pay attention until they receive their ticket. It is when they receive the ticket, they start looking into how many hours layover, where am I stopping, what is the name? And that is when they begin to pick out issues that, oh, my name is not correct. But they forget that you are a supplier there, you're not the owner. And some of these things have policies as to changes. If you're going to change a name, it comes at a cost. It is a standard out there. And then when you continuously see that people who come to book make these certain mistakes, yes, you did not do that transaction for them. They did it themselves. They should know their name, you would think. They should know their name, but you realize that they don't always. So you must know those information and then put actions in place to mitigate that. Yes, you've made a booking. I would not issue your ticket until I get on the phone with you and call you and say, can you please reconfirm the names that is here, that it is correct and it is well spelled? Why am I taking those additional actions? Because I know the implication it will have if I don't do that. Another thing I would want to say is that ensuring that there is a multi-channel support. It's time sensitive. There should not be only one way to get across to me. There should not be one way to speak with me. Make sure that it is an omni-channel system where if you're talking to me through my WhatsApp and you stop and you call me, the person knows who you are, what information you've given, what your issues are, and where to pick up from. Another third thing, because you said I should round up, so I'm trying to be very quick with my responses. But another information or another aspect, which is very key, is ensuring that you are empowering your frontline representatives, your agents, whoever they are, consultants in the term of COCO and whoever other persons are. But ensure that you are empowering them with information and that you are empowering them with authority, that you are eliminating bureaucracy in your processes, ensuring that the frontline agent has information to make a change. Not only do they have an information to make a change, they have the authority to effect that change. They don't need to have multiple means of what of approvals. Because while you're trying to approve things, it's time is of the essence. And as you're trying to approve things, it might cost you much.
Okay. So oh no, looks
Sometimes
like
a bit of it
okay.
is there. Give the power to make changes and then let them go there and do the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Oluchi. Really appreciate. Spoke about a lot of things, having your omni-channel, having multiple ways customers can reach out to you, giving the frontliners, autonomy to make decisions, information they need per time, and educating your customers and clarifying with your customers before doing things. Thank you so much. And I go to our very last question, which will be to Sheon. So Sheon, you spoke a lot about Flutterwave. So how do you handle your numerous transactions daily? How do you ensure customers' issues are handled at the same level and care and attention? Because there are different customers, different transactions, different issue types. How do you make sure all of this don't suffer? Just in 1 minute, please.
All right. Thank you, Linda. And I'll be very, very quick at it, right? For an organization like Flutterwave, that, scaled, to a reasonable extent, I think key here is for you to leverage on technology as much as possible, because we've gone past the stage of the individual, the manual, we've gone past the manual stage we've left that stage far behind. So you want to make sure you are leveraging technology as much as possible, and I'll go into that a bit. But before you can do that, right, you want to make sure that you have a data strategy, because your technology and every other thing I'll probably just mention, sits a lot on your data strategy, right? You want to make sure you build that out very well, and so that everything, it's just like it's like a puzzle, and everything just works hand in hand. So back to technology, you want to make sure you have a very robust tool which helps you. Your CRM tool is very, very robust. Your CRM tool helps you to segment your customers appropriately, to know who are the customers with high spend, who are the customers, minimal spend, right? And you're providing, the right SLAs across those various segments of customer. Made mention of something, omni-channel. Your CRM tool has to, have that omni-channel experience, because that is what is a critical area for customer, and that's something that's really helped us here, within Flutterwave. Then next, you probably also want to make sure that you're optimizing your workforce, efficiently, right? You don't want a situation whereby your workforce, you are scheduling your frontline agents at times where there is actually no volume. You want to make sure you map that importantly, empowering those agents, ensuring that they are continuously learning. You're continuously learning, right? And most importantly, and I mentioned this way earlier, you want to make sure that there is a feedback loop. That feedback loop, that voice of the customer is something you don't want to play with, because that is what you would use to always ensure that you drive continuous improvement across within your business, right? That is what helps you to see what have we done wrong, what are the process related issues we have, right, in providing care and attention to the customer, what are the policy related issues, what are probably even the agent related issues which we have to providing care, and you are able to make those adjustments as the time goes on, right? And last but not the least, the regular touch base between the CX team and all relevant stakeholders working, the operations team, the product team, and any other team, the compliance and the risk team, to ensure that all the customer pain points are shared together, right? And you are able to see, you share those customer pain points, so they also see the things. Because one interesting thing you find out with especially the back end teams is that they do really know what the customer is going through. We are the ones that are supposed to carry that message out to them, and I'm quite sure, and that's just one thing that has really helped us being able to give a great level of care to our customers as well as Florida.
Thank you so much for sharing, Sean. I mean, like you rightly said, customer advocacy is one of the things. It's a title everyone in CX carries, whether you want to carry it or not. You just keep advocating internally, because there's some perspective that you see, there are some sides you've heard and directly felt because you spoke to the customer, that the next team understands but might not feel or see it the same way. So you need to keep advocating. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, panelists, for taking our time to answer all the questions we have, all the points we have, deliberated on so far. But we have some questions, right? Go quickly into our questions, and I'll read them out. We just, pick one or two persons to just talk about them. I'd also see if there are similarities, so we can just merge. The first one I have here is not really a question. I think the person is just speaking up about bots not really, solving all the problem. The person says, hope you know most questions asked. Bots can't answer it. And in most times, the conversations end up or get closed with, which gets customers annoyed. So it's an annoying process, right? I believe before a bot can work, it's better their workers checking for negative reviews about a bot so as to contact the people involved and fix it. So basically saying, again, I think this is very connected to the feedback loop you spoke about, Shimon. So even if you're going to deploy a bot, that also requires that feedback loop. And I totally align with the points this person made. So a question here says, what are some small actions that make a business impact on customers, but are easy to miss? So again, that make a big impact. Sorry, I take that again. What are some small actions that make a big impact on customers, but are easy to miss? Oluchi, do you want to take that, please?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm going to give two examples. They might be the same. One important thing is the tone of your messaging. The tone of your messaging, whether be it written messaging, whether be it verbal messaging, the tone in which you carry an information to the customer matters a lot. Now, even when you are giving the customer the right information and the tone you have delivered it with isn't appropriate, it will not be received well, even though you are doing the right thing. So tone is very important. Your marketing message, your marketing style, your communication style, physically, when it's verbal, when it's written, it must be friendly. It must carry the right brand that you're trying to give. So there's a way I can tell you, I think you're crazy, and you would receive it with joy. You receive it with joy. But there's a way I would say it, and you would be very upset. You would pick out what I'm saying to you. So the tone is very important. I'm saying it because it costs the organization nothing. There's no additional cost if you manage your tone and your messaging well, but it has a great impact on the customer. The number two thing would be how should I put it? The number two thing would be you being proactive towards your customer, like putting yourself in their shoes and being proactive in communicating with them, in reaching out with them, in giving them information. You are being proactive. I've seen that most of us, and when I say us, I refer to organizations and refer to businesses, I refer to us individually. We are reactive in our communication. We spend a lot of time thinking about how to resolve an issue. But it is important we take a step back and think about how about not having the issue in the first place. Being proactive and ensuring that this issue does not even come up. What are my SQAs doing? What am I preempting that the problems would be? I don't want to be reactive. Reactive is me talking about resolution. Yes. But I want to be proactive and ensure that I don't have issues to even resolve. I always like to give examples. Well, how would you feel if I called in and tell you that you are to give me a full 100% refund because I missed my flight? And I asked you, how did you miss your flight? What happened? And you said to me, I didn't remember that I was supposed to fly today. I thought I was to fly tomorrow. It sounds absurd, but these are the things we deal with. And the customer tells me, I didn't remember. I thought my flight was tomorrow, but I realized it was today. And I've missed my flight. Ma'am, sir. Oh, how is it you missed your flights? You booked these tickets. You gave me the date. You have prepared. But how am I responsible for giving you a full refund when you didn't remember you had a flight? But the thing is that you can't come out and tell your customer that. You will still be empathetic with them. Oh, unfortunate. You must have been so stressed that you forgot about your flight that you booked and paid 20 million for. You must have been so stressed. We apologize. And the question now is, how many times do you receive such a problem? Now, if it is consistent, you now realize that even though it seems like common sense that they should know, it is not. Then you put up situations, products, services that helps them know. So now what are we doing? We are calling our customers one day before your flight. Hello, ma. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Hope you know you have a flight tomorrow. Just to let you know and to remind you, is there anything missing? Is there anything you need? Yes, but they're not paying for it. It's not payment, but it's us paying attention and knowing that people can experience different things. It might sound impossible to you, but it's not impossible to people. And then being proactive and putting things in place to ensure I don't even have issues. But of course, you cannot be 100% perfect in this and ensuring that you don't have issues. That is where the second, now resolving issues is phase two. Phase one is ensuring that there's no issue. Phase two is that there's an issue. How am I quick in resolving it? So ensure that we are proactive and make sure that your tone and your languaging is one that the customer can relate with and is empathetic, it is direct, it is not harsh, and you will ensure that you will see that your customers would want to come to you more. Great services does not guarantee repeat purchase. That is the absolute truth.
Okay, so it looks like Oluchi, your network. Okay, Oluchi, can you still hear me? Oh, I stopped hearing Oluchi. Okay, but I think Sean, can you hear me though? Just to confirm, I'm being heard.
Yes, we can hear you.
But Oluchi, I think some very important points and feedback to the person, and the person said easy steps, and I think you really gave very easy steps. The first one, which spoke about tone. I mean, you really don't pay for tone. You can just learn by just being deliberate and learning. You can learn how to speak the right way and being proactive as well. There's not so much you pay for that. It's an easy step by looking at your data, looking at certain behaviors, and making sure you're proactive about those things that you see customers will mistakes that, like you rightly said, might sound absurd, but customers make them. So you proactively find ways to block those holes, make sure those problems don't happen again. And you also then spoke about being fast about resolution. Most times as well, it's something you can achieve. Yes, you might have situations that are beyond your control, but if you're deliberate about just saying, okay, once it comes, you're responding immediately, and your responsiveness and till resolution, and you're following through and following up with everybody quickly, it doesn't cost that much, and there are easy steps to do. So thank you very much, Oluchi, for sharing those nuggets. So moving on, there's another question we have here, and I think I'll direct this to you, Lillian. Someone is asking that what strategies can we implement to ensure that our customer service team not only meets but exceed customer expectation in today's fast-paced digital landscape? I mean, you are in that space, so
Yeah.
what are some of the feedback you can give?
So earlier, Sean talked about feedback loop. Extremely important. It's every once in a while, we'll have customers saying, I think this and this should be implemented, this and this should be implemented. And we let them know that, thank you for your suggestions. We'll forward it accordingly for advisement. And we actually do. There's nothing that we shelve, right? Except it's, very some people come and say, oh, I think you should just be dashing us money every once in a while. But the things that actually improve the product, improve the service, we forward them and we're like, okay, this is going to make this person's life easy. Some of the things that we've implemented have come from users' feedback, right? Some things we might not even have considered. So making our products more accessible to, say, maybe disabled people or not fully able people, all of those things. Because at the end of the day, we can't know everyone's possible reality. We can't know difficulties everyone is facing. So taking feedback from your customers is very important. Another thing is, I guess, tailoring your approach to users and being proactive. So just like Oluchi said, before the issue even happens, you should be able to tackle it. Every once in a while, or even ever so often, we'll have customers reach out to us for one issue, and then we're reviewing their account and we're noticing something. It makes absolutely no sense for you to leave that issue to linger and then wait for the customer to come back and say, I'm having this issue, point it out to them. As we were fixing this, we noticed this on your account, and here's how to fix it. Would you like us to proceed? It's always so wonderful, because then you've killed two birds with one stone. You've been able to resolve it. They had no idea, right? Some people don't even, so maybe someone funded their account and it never reflected. They didn't even know. But you're letting them know that you have money hanging, would like to give it to you. It seems you didn't know. And it makes them so happy, because who doesn't even like free money? So when you're able to tackle those issues, you're very intentional about this person's experience. You're very intentional about your customer's experience. You want them to have the best, the very, 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 very best. It will always help you in what you're doing, right? Another thing is, like Oluchi said earlier, informing, or rather, what she said was arming your agents with information and with the resources. We have what we call product knowledge, right? And so it's not enough for you to resolve customers' issues. Do you know what's happening in the industry, right? When you have that information, it's easy for you to advise your customers accordingly. This is happening because of this. So start with why. why is this happening? I mean, very excellent book written by James Clear, but it applies to our everyday lives. Why is this happening? When you're able to explain, it's one thing for you to tell a customer, oh, please file a dispense error form because your funds went up. But why are you filing it? Is it just a perfunctory message? Is it just a canned response? Or do you actually know how this thing that you're telling the user is going to arm the user, is going to help the user? When your agents are knowledgeable on what's going on, when they actually know what they need to do, what the customer needs to do to help them, it's easy for them to communicate that to the customer or whoever else needs to know that. So knowledge is a very one tool that everyone that's helpful for that. Communication, excellent communication, another thing, and just being proactive in your customer centricism, very important.
Thank you. Thank you so much for Lillian. I mean, I think you just wrapped it up so well. So ensuring, being proactive, closing the loop, ensuring that, you never leave that customer feedback or those observations unattended. And then, like you said, ensuring that consistently, what needs to be done to see the follow through and follow up is done to make sure those things are handled. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I know we are rounding up now, even on the question and answer, but I think we have just two more questions. The first one, someone is asking that the person says he or she's a grad, he or she's an undergrad with the mass communication degree, and of course have done some research around the right trainings that can be done within the space, because the person is really interested in the customer service space, and the person is asking what are those things he or she can do to what's like a roadmap, a clear roadmap that the person can use to really do well in a customer success career. Sean, do you want to take that, please?
Okay. That's a very interesting one, because I'm very sure quite a number of us that found ourselves in customer experience was actually not deliberate, was actually not planned. For me, for one, I wanted to be a geologist for all I care, right? But we found ourselves in customer experience, and you take on that hat and you tell yourself that this is where I am and this is where I'm going to apply myself, right? And there are a series of trainings out there, both local and international trainings, which you can be part of to also get yourself, hands-on. Right. But the first question you probably want to ask yourself is that, are you doing customer service, customer experience just because you are actually looking for a job, or is actually something you desire to do? Right. Over time, probably someone like me now, I've discovered myself and said that this is actually what I want. I found myself there by divine arrangement, and this is what I think I actually want to do. So you want to first of all ask yourself that question, right? The next step now is for you to now start doing search around, customer experience is big, right? It's massive, right? There's a whole lot, right? There's a frontline side, there's a user experience side, there is the quality assurance, there's a learning and development side, there is a whole lot. There's data as well, right? And you want to ask yourself, what are the things you want to do? But oftentimes, right, it's always good to start from the very bottom, right? From the very bottom, which is being a frontline agent and working with customers. Funny enough, the bar to start is actually not that high, right? Which a simple BSc that you already are, which you eventually have, right? You can actually, get a job in CX, right? And from then on, you can research various certifications. Off the top of my head, I can't really pick one particularly, but I can tell you there are a whole lot of certifications out there that will help you to get a path on forward. Now, when you now start, right, now you now begin to choose, okay, I'm very good in this area. I'm very good with data. Do I want to be do I want to be a data analyst in the CX space? I'm very good with training people. Do I want to go into learning and development, right, and making people better and closing gaps, right? I'm very good with with behavioral management, right? And making people better, right? Do I want to go into quality? Do I want to go into compliance and all that? Or and that's how the path basically just went. And in those various areas, there are also things you would also learn. In quality, probably you want to learn, go into your Six Sigma. In data, you will probably want to learn, and there's a whole lot, you will learn across, in those various areas, right? Yeah. So it's all about, finding your passion, getting into that space, and and from there you begin to pick what particular area that will work with. I think I can see, I think that's Lillian's hands up. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Lillian.
I just wanted to add something. I think the basic thing above everything else is communication skills. You might be good at
Mm.
something, so you figured out what works for you. You figured out, okay, this is the kind of person I am. I do well with numbers, I do well with data, I do well with writing, I do well with speaking. But if you're not effective enough in your communication, you can talk for hours, you can write a whole book, but how well is that are your communication skills for you to convince whoever it is you're speaking to, whoever it is you're corresponding with, that on what it is you're trying to tell them. It's easy for you to say, thanks, good morning, good this, good that. Have you passed across this information properly? Have you told this user that I understand your pain point? Or are you just telling them, hello, user, so sorry for the inconvenience. We're working on this. How, do they feel like it's a bot talking to them, or do they feel like it's a human being who is working, as in, as a person is saying it, they're actually working on your issue? Above everything else is communication. Whatever course you need to take on communication, there's some on Coursera that have been very excellent. I literally took one and I learned the difference between talking with a smile and just talking regularly. When you're talking with a user on the phone and you're smiling, there's a difference. Your tone, there's a difference in your tone. And I thought I had it covered. And I took that course and I was like, oh my God. So the little things, where do you put your comma after you say hi, so? Do you say thank you for your feedback? Where do you put your comma? Where do you put your full stop? All of those things matter. Sometimes it's the difference between identifying a fake email from a real email. Very rarely, you're not going to see a bank or a reputable organization saying, dear customer, for a tailored email. They're responding to you. Ideally, they would respond to you with your name. So when you're saying, dear customer, you're not seeing any header, you're not saying yours faithfully, yours sincerely, kind regards. It's easy for you to say, this is fake. This can't be real. This can't be from my bank. This can't be from my whatever, right? So above everything else, start with fixing your communication skills. If you're someone who used to type as thanks and TNX, please start from your communication with your peers, with your friends. Start by typing in full first, your full stop where it needs to be, your commas where they need to be, all of those things. Dot your I's, cross your T's, and then you can go on. Start from effectively. If you want to say something, use an array of synonyms, right? You can't be using good, great every time. What are other words you can use? Because there's only, if you're trying to follow up with the user, you can only say sincere apologies for the inconvenience. As many, after a while they will insult you. Please remove this bot from here. So how can you say we understand your issue? Find a number of ways to say sincere apologies for the inconvenience. That's one of the underrated skills of customer success people. Just being able to do that. So yeah, communication, very, very important.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I see Oluchi, you also have your hands up. You have 30 seconds, please, because we need to wrap up and we still have.
Okay, with my 30 seconds, particularly because this person says that is an undergraduate, person just graduated, and the person is also asking for what certification that they can get into. My best advice to you is calm down on the certification, because once you're out of school, we all, I did that. We all think that, oh, once I get the certification, that makes me a customer service person. No, the certificate actually what it does is to confirm the knowledge you already have and confirm you that you're a customer service person. That's what the certificate does. So without the experience, going to get a certification would not give you what you're looking for. So my advice to you, if you're a fresh graduate, is don't bother about the certifications yet. No, just as Oluwaseun said, get into an organization, join that department, start working, start understanding what this is all about. It would also help you when you want to take your certification examinations, because they are practical questions, the practical example. You are better off answering those questions when you have experienced it than when you are having just a theoretical knowledge and understanding that, oh, be empathetic, who is an irate customer. You're just giving me book or explanation of who an irate customer is. If you have not met an irate customer and understand that this is their peculiarity and this is why they are irate. So let's pipe down a bit on the certification. That's my advice. And get the work done. Get your hands dirty. Get into it. Understand it. And then you can now say, okay, I know this thing. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I did tell you all that we are going to get a lot of knowledge because people on this call have been there, done that, right? So thank you so much for the communication, getting the right experience, and also making sure you're in there and involved in whatever you find yourself doing. And to our very last question, I think I'll just take this on myself so we can still keep to time. It says, how do you go about above and beyond for customers without stretching company resource, without overusing or depleting the company's resource? Now, I will just answer that simply. I think Oluchi's answers earlier, and I think some of Coco's responses earlier also addresses this, but I just want to quickly say that customer service is not an aside in the organization. And sometimes, because when I see depleting, it kind of wants to sound like, oh, every other thing can get part of the resource, but when it comes to customer service, maybe there's no need for such. It's as important. So if you're going to allocate resources within your organization to every other department to maybe make sure things are running, allocate resources to customer service. It's that important. I say it this way. You can say your sales team will bring in the money, but if you don't do customer service well, you would have a basket, which will mean it can't retain. As the money is coming, it's going out. See customer service that way, that you need to. So every time you think about it, you want to make sure it's a complete bowl that won't let things out. But every time you don't allocate resources, you are creating holes in that bowl that will make your resources, that same revenue you're bringing in, go out very quickly. So I'd say that, but also say all the other things I've been spoken about around, of course, tone of voice, following through, having a proper loophole, empathy, training your team, having the right SOPs. I mean, all those things have been said before. Those things don't come as a lot of cost. It's just following the standard things you need to do as an organization, right? And making sure people know what they need to do per time. I wrap up by saying this. Thank you very much, everyone. It's really been an amazing session. I'll start by saying thank you to the panelists. You all have been super duper amazing. Really, really grateful for giving everyone on this call your best. And to everyone that joined the webinar today, really appreciate your time. I'm literally looking at the time to make sure we don't go even a minute above. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time, and we hope you've gotten a thing or two. If you still have other questions, I believe these are people you can also reach out to get more insights from. But we're always happy to see that the customer experience landscape, customer service landscape keep getting stronger. People keep doing better in what they need to do to make customers happier. Remember, it's about perception. It's not really tangible, but if the customer don't feel it, they most likely won't come back. I think someone else had their hand up, but thank you very much, and have a nice day, month, and yes, because almost a new month. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you.